My ex-wife cleaned me out after the divorce, and my family blamed me for it. Hey Reddit, so I'm Ethan, 35, and I'm pretty sure I'm the family screw-up. My older brother is a lawyer, fancy car, big house, the whole deal. Me, I'm the easygoing one, which basically translates to everyone walking all over me. Always have, always will. Even my parents treat me like I'm 10. This whole mess started with the divorce. My ex, Brianna, didn't just take half, she took everything, including my grandfather's vinyl collection. The one thing that actually mattered to me. Now I'm broke, living in a crappy apartment, and my family thinks I deserve it. I don't even know where to start with this story, it's a mess. I came home from work one Tuesday, expecting to finally pack up the last of my stuff from the house. It was officially Brianna's now, but we had an agreement. Keyword, had I walked in and the place was empty, like really empty, not just my stuff gone but the furniture too, everything gone. I felt this weird buzzing in my ears like I was underwater. My stomach lurched. Then I saw it, or rather didn't see it, the vinyl. My grandfather's meticulously organized, priceless collection. Gone, vanished. I actually stumbled, like someone had punched me in the gut. I checked the spare room, the basement, even the damn attic. Nothing, just dust bunnies and the faint smell of Brianna's perfume, which suddenly smelled like betrayal and lies. My phone buzzed, it was Brianna, a text. Clean slate, babe, enjoy your new life, XOXO. XOXO? Are you kidding me? I called her, the phone ringing in my shaking hand. It went straight to voicemail. That's when I checked the bank account. Zero, zilch, nada, she cleaned me out. Our joint savings, my personal checking gone, I physically threw up in the thankfully empty kitchen sink. I called my brother Mark, my voice cracking. Brianna took everything, Mark, the vinyl, the money, everything. He sighed, that long-suffering sigh he perfected in law school. Ethan, he said, his voice dripping with condescension, you should have had a prenup, you knew what she was like. Knew what she was like? He made it sound like I'd married a rattlesnake. Then I called my mom. Honey, she said in that sweet yet utterly unhelpful tone, you just need to learn from this, be more careful next time. Next time. Like losing everything I owned, including a piece of my family history, was just a minor hiccup. I wanted to scream. Instead, I just hung up, the buzzing in my ears getting louder, the world tilting on its axis. I sat down on the bare floor, the only thing left in the house that was once ours, and just cried. So after I picked myself up off the floor of my empty, echoing house, which still smelled faintly of Brianna's betrayal perfume, by the way, I decided to grovel. I know, pathetic, but I was desperate. I called my parents, figuring they'd at least offer a couch to crash on, maybe a loan to get back on my feet. Ha. Joke's on me, right? They answered on speakerphone, which should have been my first clue. Always a bad sign. Mom, Dad, I started, my voice still shaky. Brianna, she took everything, I have nothing left. My mom's voice, all saccharine sweetness, cut in. Oh honey, we're so sorry, but you really should have been more careful. Careful? My blood pressure started to rise. Careful about what? Marrying a sociopath disguised as a yoga instructor. My dad chimed in, his voice booming from the speakerphone. Your brother warned you about her, Ethan. We all did. This is where the gaslighting started. No one had warned me about anything. They just made snide comments about her being free-spirited and a bit much, which I dismissed as typical family judgment. Dad, I said, trying to keep my voice even, that's not the point. I'm broke. I have nowhere to live. I need help. There was a long, uncomfortable silence. I could hear my mom and dad murmuring to each other in the background. Finally, my mom came back on. Well, dear, she said, her voice laced with something that sounded suspiciously like relief. Maybe this is a good opportunity for you to start over. Get a better job, find a nicer apartment. A nicer apartment. I was about to lose it. Mom, I can't even afford ramen right now. How am I supposed to get a nicer apartment? My dad chuckled. You'll figure it out, son, you always do. That's their favorite line. You'll figure it out. Their way of dismissing any responsibility, any need to actually, help. My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. I could feel the anger boiling inside me, a hot, acidic wave. Figure it out. Figure what out? How to magically conjure money out of thin air. How to rebuild my life from scratch after my wife robbed me blind. More murmuring in the background. Then my mom, her voice tight, said, Ethan, don't be dramatic. You're making this sound worse than it is. Worse than it is. That's when I knew. This wasn't normal. This wasn't just family being annoying. This was toxic. My own parents were minimizing my pain, blaming me for being a victim. I hung up, my heart pounding, a cold dread settling in my stomach. I was alone. completely, utterly alone. And suddenly that empty house didn't seem so bad after all. At least it was quiet. A week later and things have gone from bad to nuclear. Brianna's little pity party ended. Apparently the new boyfriend wasn't as spiritually evolved as she thought, and now she's back to harassing me. Non-stop calls, texts, emails. It's like she's trying to wear me down, to make me forget that she robbed me blind and left me with nothing but the clothes on my back. But that's not even the worst part. Oh no, my family decided to get involved. Apparently Brianna's been playing the victim, telling everyone I'm the bad guy, that I drove her to empty the accounts. And they're believing her. My Aunt Carol, who I haven't spoken to in 5 years, called me yesterday. Ethan, she said, her voice dripping with disapproval, Brianna tells me you've been terribly cruel to her, that you've been neglecting her emotional needs. Neglecting her emotional needs. This is the woman who yelled at me for using the wrong kind of almond milk. I wanted to laugh, but it was more of a strangled sob. Carol, I said, trying to keep my voice calm, you have no idea what you're talking about. Oh, I think I do, she said, her voice getting sharper. A woman doesn't just leave a good man for no reason. You must have done something to push her away. Push her away? She took all of my money. I hung up. I couldn't even deal. Then this morning my mom called. Ethan, she said, her voice all sweet and concerned, your father and I are very worried about you. Brianna's told us some disturbing things. Disturbing things. I could feel my blood pressure rising. What disturbing things? I asked, my voice tight. Well, she said you've been unstable, that you're having a difficult time coping with the divorce. Unstable? I'm unstable. I'm the one who's been robbed and gaslit, and I'm unstable. I almost screamed. Mom, I said, trying to control my voice, Brianna is lying. She's manipulating you. She took everything from me, and now she's trying to destroy my reputation too. My mom sighed. Ethan, honey, just apologize to her. Tell her you're sorry. It's the Christian thing to do. The Christian thing to do? Apologize to the woman who stole everything I own. I swear I saw red. I hung up on my own mother. I'm starting to think I need a lawyer. And a therapist. And maybe a witness protection program. This is insane. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I can barely function. I'm constantly looking over my shoulder, waiting for the next attack. This isn't just about the money anymore. This is about my sanity. I have to do something. This has to stop. So I finally broke down and told Maya, my friend from college, she's a therapist, thank God, about the whole everything. It was hard, you know. Laying it all out there, the vinyl, the bank account, the family turning on me, it felt like admitting I was a complete and utter failure. I started by just telling her about Brianna cleaning out the house and the bank accounts. I kind of glossed over the family stuff at first, just mumbled something about them not being very supportive. But Maya, she's sharp. She saw right through me. Ethan, she said, her voice gentle but firm, what's really going on? You seem more than just upset about the money. So I spilled the whole ugly mess. How my parents blamed me, how my brother acted like I was an idiot, how Brianna was now playing the victim and everyone was buying it. I even told her about Aunt Carol's phone call, the neglecting her emotional needs bit. By the time I was finished, I felt like I'd run a marathon. Maya was silent for a minute, just looking at me with this, I don't know, this mix of shock and anger. Then she said very quietly, Ethan, this is abuse. That word, abuse. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I'd never thought of it like that before. I mean, yeah, Brianna could be difficult, manipulative even, but abuse. But she's my wife, I stammered. Families, they argue, right? They don't always support each other. Maya shook her head. Ethan, she said, her voice getting stronger, what Brianna did, taking your money, your grandfather's collection, that's financial abuse. And what your family is doing, minimizing your pain, blaming you for her actions, that's emotional abuse. They're enabling her behavior, making you question your own reality. And that's when it clicked, like a light bulb going off in my head. Enabling, minimizing, gaslighting. All these words, I'd heard them before, but I'd never applied them to my own life. I'd been so busy trying to please everyone, to be the easygoing one, that I hadn't even realized I was being manipulated by everyone. They're making you think you're the problem, Maya said, her voice firm, when they're the ones creating a toxic environment. Tears welled up in my eyes. Someone finally saw it. Someone finally understood. I wasn't crazy, I wasn't overreacting, I was being abused. What do I do? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. Maya looked at me, her eyes full of compassion. You start by setting boundaries, Ethan, she said. You stop trying to please them. You start prioritizing your own well-being. You stop letting them control your narrative. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. A tiny spark of anger, no, not anger. Resolve, I was done. Done being the family doormat. Done letting Brianna and my family dictate my life. I was finally ready to fight back, for myself. It was my birthday. I'd finally managed to convince myself to celebrate, small gathering at a local brewery, just a few close friends. Maya was there, of course, and a couple of work buddies. We were laughing, having a good time, trying to forget, just for a few hours, the dumpster fire that was my life. Then the door opened and I saw her, Brianna, dressed to the nines like she was walking a red carpet. My stomach dropped. I could feel the blood drain from my face. What the hell was she doing here? She sashayed over to our table, a sickly sweet smile plastered on her face. Surprise. She shrieked loud enough for the entire brewery to hear. My friends stared at her, then at me, their faces a mixture of confusion and horror. This was not how I wanted to spend my birthday. Ethan, honey, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern, I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I know things haven't been easy between us, but I still care about you. Care about me. She stole everything I OWNED. I wanted to scream, to throw something, to just disappear, but I froze, paralyzed by shock and a sudden wave of nausea. Brianna, I said, my voice shaking, what are you doing here? I just wanted to talk, she said, her eyes wide and innocent. I miss you, Ethan. I want us to work things out. Work things out. After she robbed me blind and then gaslit me to my family, I was starting to see red. There's nothing to work out, I said, my voice getting louder. You stole from me, Brianna. You lied to me. You lied to my family. It's over. That's when she lost it. She started yelling, screaming about how I'd ruined her life, how I'd never appreciated her, how I was a cold, heartless monster. People were staring, whispering. I felt my face burning with shame. This was a nightmare. You ruined my life, I roared, finally snapping. You took everything from me. You left me with nothing. Brianna just kept screaming, her voice getting higher and shriller. You made me do it. You never loved me. You never gave me what I needed. What I needed, what SHE needed was a reality check. And a prison sentence. The buzzing in my ears was back, louder than ever. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely hold my beer. I felt like I was going to explode. And then in that moment, something inside me broke. Snapped, shattered, I was done. Done. I wasn't going to be her victim anymore. I wasn't going to be my family's punching bag anymore. I was taking control. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I looked down at Brianna, my eyes blazing. Get out, I said, my voice low and dangerous. Get out of my life, and don't you ever come near me again. I turned and walked away, leaving her standing there, mouth agape in the middle of the brewery. I didn't look back, I didn't care, I was done. Finally, irrevocably done. I knew with a certainty that chilled me to the bone that I needed to cut them all out. Brianna, my parents, maybe even my brother. I needed to protect myself. I needed to rebuild my life. Alone. Okay, Reddit, I knew I couldn't just say I was done. I needed proof. I needed to be prepared. This wasn't just about yelling and screaming, this was about reclaiming my life. So I went full on strategic mode. First, I gathered everything. Bank statements showing the joint account being drained. Emails and texts from Brianna, the ones where she flipped from sweet to psychotic in 0.5 seconds. Screenshots of her social media posts, bragging about her new life while I was eating ramen for dinner. I even found a photo of her wearing my grandfather's favorite leather jacket. The audacity. This was my ammunition. Then, because I'm not stupid, despite what my family seems to think, I talked to a lawyer. Just a consultation, but it helped me understand my options. Turns out, Brianna's clean slate wasn't so clean after all. There were legal avenues I could pursue. This wasn't just a he said, she said situation. I had evidence. This gave me a huge boost of confidence. Knowing I had legal recourse, even if I didn't end up using it, felt like having a secret weapon. Next, I drafted a letter. Not a ranting, raving, emotional screed, but a calm, factual account of everything that had happened. Brianna's lies, my family's enabling, the whole 9 yards. I listed specific instances, dates, times. This wasn't just me whining, this was a documented indictment of their toxic behavior. I printed it out, multiple copies. One for BRANNA, one for each parent. Boom. I knew this confrontation was going to be brutal. They weren't going to just roll over and admit they were wrong. So I prepped myself. I practiced reading the letter out loud to Maya, working on keeping my voice steady, even when I felt like screaming. She gave me feedback, told me when I sounded too angry, too pleading. I needed to be firm, resolute, in control. No more Mr. Nice guy. I also knew my family would try to guilt me, to gaslight me, to tell me I was overreacting. So I wrote down Maya's words, the ones about emotional abuse and enabling, and I kept them in my pocket. A physical reminder that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't alone. My personal mantra. Finally, I chose a neutral location. A coffee shop in our hometown, a place with no emotional baggage for any of us. I texted Brianna and my parents, telling them I needed to talk. I didn't give them details. I wanted the element of surprise. I wanted them to walk in blind, just like they'd done to me. I was terrified, sure, but I was also strangely calm. This wasn't about winning their approval or forgiveness anymore. This was about me. About setting boundaries. About taking back my life. And I was ready. The coffee shop buzzed with the usual Saturday morning chaos, but all I could hear was the pounding of my own heart. Brianna arrived first, looking surprised, even a little nervous. Good. My parents shuffled in a few minutes later, Dad looking annoyed, Mom wearing her patented, concerned face. I took a deep breath, pulled out my letters, and placed one in front of each of them. "What's this, Ethan?" Mom asked, her voice tight. "Read it," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. They exchanged glances, then reluctantly started reading. Brianna skimmed hers, her face going from confusion to anger in record time. "This is ridiculous," she huffed, tossing the letter on the table. "You're such a drama queen, Ethan." I ignored her, focusing on my parents. They finished reading, their faces pale. "Ethan, honey," Mom started, reaching for my hand, but I pulled away. "Do honey me, Mom," I said, my voice rising. "Read what I wrote, really read it." Dad cleared his throat. "Son, we know you're upset, but—" "Upset?" I cut him off. "I've been robbed, Dad, financially and emotionally, and you've been enabling her every step of the way." "We just want what's best for you," Mom said weakly. "No, you want what's easiest for you," I countered, my voice shaking now but with anger, not fear. "You want me to just shut up and go away, pretend everything's fine." "Well, it's not fine, it's never been fine," Brianna scoffed. "You're being so dramatic, Ethan, it's just money, you'll make more." "Just money?" I exploded. "It's not just money, Brianna, it's my livelihood. It's my grandfather's legacy. And you stole it." I pulled out my phone, scrolling through the screenshots. "Here's you wearing his leather jacket, Brianna, the one he wore when he met Elvis. Remember, the one you said you'd treasure?" Brianna's face went white. My parents stared at the photo, their mouths open. This was it. The turning point. They couldn't deny it anymore. "And here," I continued, showing them the bank statements, "is the proof of you draining our account, the account we were saving for a DOWN payment on a house." I looked at my parents. "And here are your texts, Mom, the ones where you tell me to just apologize to her, the ones where you say I'm overreacting, the ones where you blame me for her actions." Their eyes darted around the room, avoiding my gaze. They were ashamed. Good. I took a deep breath, my voice calmer now, steadier. I pulled the crumpled notes from Maya out of my pocket, smoothing them on the table. "This," I said, tapping the paper, "is the definition of emotional abuse. And you," I looked directly at my parents, "are guilty of it. You've enabled Brianna's behavior and you've minimized my pain. And for what? To avoid conflict, to maintain the illusion of a perfect family." I paused, letting the words sink in. "I'm done," I said, my voice low and firm. "I'm done being your scapegoat. I'm done being Brianna's victim. I'm cutting off contact until you can acknowledge the damage you've done." I stood up, gathered my things, and walked out. The coffee shop buzzed around me, oblivious to the seismic shift that had just occurred. I didn't look back. I didn't need to. I was finally free. Update: it's been a few weeks since the great coffee shop showdown. Brianna's still blowing up my phone, but I'm ignoring her. Radio silence, blissful silence. My parents, well, they're not happy. Lots of angry voicemails about how I'm disrespectful and ungrateful. But something unexpected happened. My brother Mark, Mr. Perfect Lawyer, called. He actually apologized. Said he hadn't realized how bad things were, that our family has a habit of overlooking my feelings. Baby steps, I guess. I'm starting therapy next week, focusing on setting boundaries and rebuilding my self-esteem. It's a long road ahead, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. Thanks for all the support, Reddit. It means more than you know. Update: it's been a few months since the coffee shop explosion. The fallout has been complicated. Brianna, predictably, went full scorched earth. Angry emails, voicemails, even tried to contact my friends to spread her version of events. I blocked her everywhere. Best decision ever. My parents, still frosty. They sent a few guilt-trippy letters for holidays. The whole family is everything spiel. I haven't responded. I need space. Mark, though, has been surprisingly supportive. We've actually talked a few times, real conversations, not just surface-level stuff. He even admitted that he'd always been jealous of how easygoing I was, which blew my mind. Turns out, Mr. Perfect Lawyer has his own insecurities. Who knew? Therapy is helping. A lot. I'm learning to prioritize my own needs, to set boundaries, to not feel guilty for saying no. It's hard, but I'm slowly rebuilding my life. I even started collecting vinyl again. It's not the same as Grandpa's collection, but it's mine, and that feels good, really good. This whole experience has been a huge wake-up call. I realized I was surrounded by toxic people, people who drained my energy and made me question my own sanity. Cutting them out, even family, was the hardest but best thing I've ever done. I'm finally free to be me. It's scary, but also exhilarating. I'm still figuring things out, one day at a time, but I'm no longer the family doormat. I'm the guy who walks away from the table. Has anyone else had to cut ties with family? How did you handle it? Any advice for navigating this new, uncharted territory?